So when we refer to the word power creep, there is always one vehicle that comes to mind. That is the F-4 Phantom, and this vehicle has been power crept for a very long time, to be honest, and a lot of people have actually been requesting for this vehicle to actually receive a buff. Well, the good news are, in this update it actually received a pretty massive buff in terms of its overall statistics, and you could go as far as even saying that this vehicle has been reworked because its statistics have actually been heavily improved. And in this video, guys, I will be showing you everything that was actually changed. But before we start, make sure to join the Discord server. I am currently hosting a giveaway, link in the description. So firstly, we are going to be taking a look at the multi-role missiles, which they will be able to, of course, target both air and ground. Firstly, one missile will be able to do around 35% against the F-35 on average, which is actually extremely good for a vehicle like this. And overall, after you do manage to shoot the F-35 with 2 missiles, it will be down to around 30% or so, which is extremely good. Now, moving into the damage against helicopters and the Mi-24 Super Hind, this vehicle will once again actually be really good because one missile will be able to do over 38% to this vehicle, and that is a huge upgrade, to be honest. On average, you're gonna be one-shotting some helicopters with even lower health. Now, the damage against ground vehicles, and right here I'm also testing it against the lava, that's not going to be particularly outstanding, to be honest. However, it will still be a bonus chunk of DPS. However, against the tanks is where I can actually see the main difference, because the Abrams X will be taking around 25% per shot from this, and that is once again a pretty huge upgrade, because on average you're going to be able to do around 50% to an Abrams X and most other tanks. And now the main rework which has actually been done towards this vehicle has to do with its napalm bombs, because now they will have an insane area of effect with how far the napalm will be able to actually spread slash just be located once the bomb does manage to explode. As you guys can see right here from the explosion itself, you're not going to be doing the most damage. However, this napalm is also going to be able to stay on the ground for quite a long time. So if you are, for example, attacking infantry on the ground, most of the time they will just end up dead, because this thing is going to be insanely strong against it. However, this isn't the only buff that was made to it in terms of its ground capabilities. Let me show you the other one. So the radius under which you'll be able to also do damage to the player has also increased, because as you guys can see right now, I'm also able to drop these bombs on buildings, and they will actually be able to do some very good damage. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to two-shot a person who does actually have a 2x armor. However, this is not the way you're supposed to actually be using these napalm bombs. We have to take advantage of the fact that the fire can actually go way further than what it was able to go before. And as you guys can see right here, the correct way in which you actually want to be using these bombs is going to be firing in front of someone's owner-only door, because if you manage to do that, then the fire will actually be able to enter the base or any place that you are actually bombing. You are not supposed to be bombing on top, you're supposed to actually be bombing near the enemy, because then you'll be able to get into a perfect spot where you're going to be able to do the damage. Because as you guys can see, if I manage to actually hit the napalm bomb correctly, then the fire will actually spread very far into the base, managing to kill people most of the time. So this vehicle is really going to be based on strategy now, and it will be having some really powerful stats. But anyway, for the time being, those are all the changes that were made to the F-4. I still believe that this vehicle does deserve to be having bonus weapons, because that's what the F-4 does after all in real life. But either way, I'm still pretty happy with this buff, and this vehicle was definitely executed really well.